there's a better life for them out there. But then the challenge is, like me, so many years ago, I used to think that it was for those people who majority of us see on social media, driving good, living good. But trust you me, those people did and lived the exact same life you did. But they got to a point when they said, wait, enough is enough. Let me try something. Let me do something. Let me change my life. And as we always tell you here on Hustle Hard, the person who is responsible for where you end up, for the lifestyle you have, for where you end up living, the car you drive, the school your kids go to, ultimately who you are is nobody else other than you.
At what point did we get to the schools for the kids, George? Come on.
It's important because a lot of people are living an ordinary life when they can be living an extraordinary life. But what they are doing is what 98% of the world population does. They settle in a place called the comfort zone. And in the comfort zone, nothing grows in the comfort zone. But to the 2% of people, they do what everybody else is not doing, which is why they end up living the life that everybody else is not living, because they decided to deliberately say, I'm going to work harder, I'm going to work later, I'm going to sacrifice the status quo of being, doing what everybody else is doing, but I'm going to sacrifice the now for the future. But majority of people listening, living, having that one stream of income, which you on Hustle Hard we are trying to get you out of, relying on your job, which unapologetically I tell you leaves you just over broke. It does not take care of you 100%. Yes, it can make you go by, but you will never live the life that the 2% of the population called the rich and wealthy live if you continue doing the same things over and over again and are expecting different results. That is the definition of insanity. Kuramba uchingoita gore 2019,
and then you expect magic.
2020, 20, we are going to keep going. And the thing that majority of people don't get, pane chinonzi nguva, and nguva haimirire munhu.
And I immediately
You are going to see others excelling, living a good life, buying new cars, moving into the new house they just built, going on holidays, doing all these things. Wakangomira kuti pane pamwe munhu achauya achizokuvhurira dhoo kuti right, chitanga business, right, chiita something neupenyu hwako. But as long as you, yes, you listening to us, does not make a deliberate, conscious effort to say, ininika ndabone life yandiri kurarama, I want more. And the thing with life, everything that you want, like we've always said on Hustle Hard, is on the other side of your greatest fear. Saka kuseri kwe fear, uri kutya kutanga business, uri kutya you're scared of that thing, and that thing, trust you me, will unlock so much more than you continually relying and doing the same thing. Some of you have been in employment for many years and you don't see any other opportunities.
Absolutely
You see, Becky K, to me, you are one person who are really utilizing your influence and who you are, because on radio, you are a radio DJ. After radio, you are a brand ambassador. You are an influencer. You are an MC. You have a masterclass. So already 25, 6, 7 different streams of income. But pane mungu akanditerera anongoenda kubasa. One thing ichocho is just that one thing. And I can tell you that one thing is not going to sustain you. I can tell you, Becky K on radio, if she was to get the red card today, I can guarantee you it will not really drastically affect her life.
Absolutely.
Because you still have an influence in the marketplace where people will seek either your product or your service. But majority of us have become like those horses anema blinders. Kuturungo mukira 8 to 5 yako.
Which is good for some things.
It's not good, Becky K.
No, the blinkers.
No,
I'm saying for some things. for some things when you are trying to focus on something. Wrong? No?
No. I believe that we've come to a point in time in this generation where the world is changing so quickly.
Okay.
And to those who are going to get a red card at work or something happens, who are relying on just kubasa ikoko, who have been in employment for 10, 20 years, and that's all they know. Trust you me, a rude awakening is going to come at your standard of living.
And it does come.
And when it comes, you're going to be shocked. Your kids will be affected. Your lifestyle will be affected. You're going to be now so concerned about what does the community, kuchechi wachatichi, pandiri kufamba, now I've degraded my car. It's going to affect you drastically. But before that happens, I will say this loudly and clearly. Begin to make a plan as though things are not okay. Because sooner than later, trust you me, that job you are relying on is not going to be there. You're going to come to an age where you're going to be told, thank you for your services, here's your retirement package, and get it correctly. Your retirement package will not last you as long as you think, because you have a whole life to live. Your children have a whole life to live. Your wife who likes those nice things is not going to be able to be sustained by the amount of money you're going to get from a package. But instead, let's arise and wake up and say, wait a minute, let me deliberately make a choice to say, let me start. And listening to us here begins to provoke a thought in your mind. Kuti, right, what am I gonna do? Right, let me begin to listen to more business people. How did they start? What were their greatest fears? How did they overcome the very start-up of the business? What did they do to set up? How did they, all these things are things that you need to begin looking at. And I know some people out there, I can hear you in your mind saying, George, Becky, entrepreneurship is not for everybody. I hear you loud and clearly. But trust you me, there's going to come a time where these words coming out of my mouth are going to resonate with you. And you are going to begin on a journey less traveled to make sure that you sustain your life, your family, and where you ultimately want to go.
0719-100-404 is the number to get in touch with us. We got George Billionaire in studio. Mrs. Zimontin Bromley, good afternoon to you. Thank you for tuning in. Crown Prince, I don't even know what your real name is, but thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions for George so far from what he has spoken,
the purpose of your existence on this planet was not for you to remain ordinary or for you to just live an ordinary jail life. But what ultimately determines where you end up is what you do with your life. Now, there are people like myself who worked in various sectors of the economy many years back before I started my journey with ProAir 12 years ago. But trust you me, I always had the bigger picture. I always had the bigger plan. And the moment in 2012 when I had twins, trust you me, my job and earning $300 was never going to be enough for me, now a father of 5, to be able to sustain my family had I stayed in a place where I was still earning $300. So to some people, they say, no, I can stagger on along. Remember, I said the lifestyle you live is determined by the things you do today. It's like planting a tree, Becky Ken. When you plant a tree today, you know you're going to eat fruits from that tree 5-10 years down the line.
True story.
Right now, some people who work in various employment places, you'd never stay at an employment place for a year, 2, 5, 10, 20 years and actually get a reward. You get a package. Wow, that's great. And African packages, get it correctly, they are different from first world packages where you can actually do something substantial with it. So my point to people is that, you are where you are tilling in somebody's land. But if you are to leave that job today, will you be able to sustain? It's a thought for somebody out there. I know there are people who say, George, I want to rise up the corporate ladder. That's great. I'm very happy for that. But even though, my logic is that people should always have an additional stream of income. And what happens when that additional stream of income comes? Once you give it time and you water it with all you have, you can actually then jump off from where you are and go and raise that. And it will actually begin to be something that sustains you fully. And yet again, that now becomes something that you are identified for. When people say your name, they'll know, ndokwatowana mazai kwaBecky, because Becky's been doing eggs, right? KwaGeorge ndokwatowana ma-aircon, kwaNingi ndokwatowana this, and that thing then begins to take care of you. But if you're still under the umbrella of somebody else, there's so much uncertainty with life and jobs. I think we spoke about it with COVID, how so many things were shrunk and a lot of people lost their jobs. There are younger people coming up, there's cheaper labor coming up, and you as a high earner in an institution, you'll be the first one to be eliminated and to be bringing somebody new up in the corporate ladder. So here what we're trying to say is that it's important to think of a year, 2, 3 down the line.
Right.
Don't be a 56-year-old who's now wanting to make a plan with your life when retirement comes. And it's Zorwa age year retirement, imagine, because there's a lot of things happening. There are a lot of young people, and then now at that age, we've seen in the country of Zimbabwe when specific ministers lose their jobs or high-profile corporate executives lose their jobs, reality will sink, and you begin to say, but wait a minute, we are aimbova this, that, and the other. But this is what we say all the time: failing to plan is planning to fail. You know your children are growing up. You know your age is reaching retirement. You know we are working is not 100% guaranteed to give you a package that will change your life, build a house, give you the lifestyle that you want. You know that. But if you're somebody who has laser focus and vision to say, I am here to learn, I am here to absorb, to understand the corporate culture. This is what I did. From a young age, I was always very ambitious. I wanted to learn. I was at the University of Zimexmo, where I graduated with my faculty of hustle. But hustle yem road, yanga isina equipping ye corporate world. And I said to myself, if I keep this hustling hard thing on the streets, it will not get me to ultimately where I want to be an internationally known business entrepreneur, this, that, and the other. So I went and I worked for 5-6 years in the corporate world, where I learned the do's and don'ts, how to work with people, how the corporate world works. So in that time, I was deliberately absorbing and learning until I then decided to branch out and go on the journey less traveled, which I've been now for a couple of years. So kuna munhu wese understand time is there, but what you do with it, especially futuristically speaking, is what is most important. And failing to plan, I promise you, uchaona reality a year, 2, 3, 4 down the line, when your kids now want to go to university, and now it's not a shock. University fees asiyana nekuchikoro kwamoenda kunoita payment plan today. They want their money up front. There's no negotiations. They don't know kuti no, we're waiting for this, muchazoya net 20%. They want things. So if you begin to plan for that now and say, wait a minute, I cannot sustain my futuristic life with the current income I'm getting. Thus, let me make a plan. And dresses is all determined by your why. I think we need to do what's your why? What drives you? What is your why for you existing today? And my why is to become a history maker. I want to provoke, raise up not only great children, but everyone I influence in my life should be like, hey, that guy did something. What's your why? What solution are you solving on this planet which has so many problems? That's a very strong
question to ask yourself with anything. I was speaking to a group of young people over the weekend for some Leo club, the Leo, the Lions, and the Alpha Leos. And in my talk with them, I did ask them, and I think this question needs to be asked even when we are younger. So if you can, as a parent, ask your kids also, why? Do they do the things that they do? Why do they feel the need to do well in school? Why do you as a parent want your children to do well in sport or in school, in their academics? Why do you want them to be well behaved? Yes, it seems like, come on, Biggie, it's common sense. No, but unless if you know your why, you won't put in the effort or the amount of effort that needs to be put in. You won't put your all in it, and that's how you end up in this rut, in that cycle where you keep on doing the same thing over and over again because you don't know your why.
Yeah.
The moment that light bulb moment comes through and you know why you're doing something, even the way you do paperwork changes. Even the way you strategize will change. Even the way you talk to your subordinates or the way you relate with the other co-workers at work, it will change.
True.
The moment you understand your why.
Yeah.
In understanding our why today, we are talking about our inner self. And when we talk about understanding our inner self, why is it important to understand who Becky is on the inside?
Right. As we go back to your why, this weekend was great for Gabriel, my son.
Well done.
And
we saw him running this time. I'm just like,
he was doing, that was last week. He was doing cross country, and over the weekend again, he was swimming, and he won a lot of medals. And his why is so strong that he does not need anybody to push him, because he knows his why. His why is, I want to be the best. I want to break records set by my elder siblings. I want to be remembered. I want to be like Michael Phelps, Kirsty Coventry. That's his why. So deliberately, his why is correlated with the actions he puts on his why.
Mm-hmm.
This young boy swims like, when you see him swimming competitively, you're like, wow. But if only you knew what he does behind the scene when he's practicing.
The work is different.
When he wakes up early to do what everybody else is not doing, because he wants to get that gold medal in front of everybody. But nobody sees what's done in private that makes his why come to pass. And I did a video with him over the weekend, and he's like, it's what I do in private for me to get these things.
He's learned it at such a young age. I mean, like, oh my gosh.
And imagine a 10-year-old telling you this. He understands his why. And he understands his why is related to action, to doing things that the 2% do, which is doing what everybody else is not doing. When others are going out, clubbing, partying, making excuses, blaming the economy, not starting, procrastinating, putting things off for tomorrow, there's somebody else who's saying, I'm going to wake up early, I'm going to wake up later, I'm going to try. Remember, we've said failing is not failing. Failing is first attempt in learning. It's more learning that we are doing from why we failed, and then we try again to make it become better than what we did before, so we don't make the same mistakes. So knowing your why is so important, because it drives you to where you want to go.
It drives you, so it gives you direction.
It gives you direction.
It gives you direction. It gives you the speed or the pace at which that you will function, or the speed or the pace that you will move at to accomplish or to achieve the goal, the thing that you want to do.
When you know your why, you're not going to be concerned about other people's opinions. And
say it loud for the people in the back.
When you know
say
your
it
why,
loud for the people in the back.
When you know your why, aunabasa kuti vamwe vanhu vanoti chii.
Yes.
You don't have to explain to people, why did you downgrade your car? Why did you sell your house and makuno roja? Because your why is, I want to invest in my business. Your why is, I'm working later because I want to get more experience. Why are you sleeping late? I'm studying so I pass my exams. If your why is so strong, the opinions and the clutter and the naysayers havana basa newe, because you know kuti inineka kuti ndizowana gold medal aingowanike pane vamwe vaya vanhu vaiti maexams ka kunonzi kuita sei beki
kukrema
that saying we say when you're writing exams and then you want to study just before the exam. There are people who rather would, before the day the exam comes, they want to market. There are people who are like that, who just think that last minute works. But in this life, everything happens to those who have put in action and have worked hard. So in this life, if your why is not directed with action towards you being the person that you want, and if other people's opinions hinder you so much, haumbofa wakasvika to a place where you ultimately should be in your life. So it's important to have a strong why.
Right.
And the thing we wanted to speak about today is changing your life is changing your inner self. And we've spoken about it. When we begin the year, we spoke about writing goals. We talk about the SFP, the self-fulfilling prophecy. we wrote things that successful people do.
We did all.
We spoke about focus. But if you don't change your internal self, nothing on the exterior will change.
And internal self, this is like voices in my head.
So
Oh.
in Romans, in the Bible, it says, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind."
So my mind. Okay.
That's your inner self, your inner self-talk, your inner belief. There are people, I can tell you, who have been told, you will not make it in this life. And they have believed it, and they have stayed in employment all their lives because their parents told them, go to school, get a thing, and ubasa. That's the only way you make money. I remember when I started my journey with ProAir, I was told, iwe, siyana nazvo, ndiani wekudzinza kwenyu akambova entrepreneur akava successful.
Right, which is
Leave
most
it
of the words that
alone.
they receive out there.
And understand, my own father, I love my dad, Nicodemus Samunengwa. I love him to bits. He took me to good schools, did that. But when it came a time where I had to make a decision that was going to alter my life, the voices that you hear around you, especially from your own father, mother, pastor, brother, sister, husband, uncle, whoever, can drastically affect where you end up and your trajectory in life. So when you don't work on your inner self-being, because nothing changes outside if it has not changed inside.
Okay, so I could change my look. I could change the way I conduct myself and speak with a all over the place. But if my mind hasn't been renewed, I haven't done anything. It's just a wardrobe change.
Because what will happen in life drastically after 5 years, you'll see Becky still at the same place. What's changed, is your outer self. But your inner self and your inner being is the one that determines where you end up. So when you begin to specifically change the content you are feeding on. Last week I was ranting at people. I was Netflixing and chilling. And I'm saying, what self-development are you doing by watching such and spending and wasting your time on doing something that's not directly self-developing yourself? So now,
big on that.
so now you have spent a lot of time feeding yourself, reading romance novels, reading this, reading, For me, understand, if you put that amount of effort in self-developing yourself,
wonderful,
we will be a different people. And I love TikTok, Yeku China, if you analyze it.
Don't even go
It's different from Yeku Africa, because in Africa, we are doing the latest trends. Tirikutamba, Tirikuitachi, we are popping bottles.
The African TikTok is literally just music and entertainment.
That's right.
And if you somehow subscribe for educational stuff, they also streamline that. Like they will save it for you and they will give you, unless if you personally do like a personal search, then that's the only information you will get. Other than that, you're getting music, you're getting entertainment, you're getting jokes, you're getting violence, you are getting everything that doesn't do anything to build you, right? But you look at the Hong Kong TikTok, the Chinese TikTok, Asian TikTok, Singapore. No, that's all educational stuff. And that's why they're always going to be like a couple of years ahead from Africans.
True. And whatever you focus on multiplies and grows. So imagine what our kids are being fed with, and they are constantly consuming all this garbage and trash. And then you wonder why the kids are like that. The parents are not driven to do anything because they are constantly feeding themselves with things which are unproductive. It's not self-development, but it's now giving children awareness on things that they shouldn't. But if it's technological, if it's self-development, if it's things that you deliberately say, with Chinese, it's amazing. At 10 years old, because they've self-taught themselves. Now, I always go on about our educational system in Africa, where it brainwashes us to think that we need to take this long time for you to finish A level or O level. But in the first world countries, the change, the teaching is different. And in Africa, if you see those who make it, especially those business people, whoever, they go and do the extra, because hakuna time frame yekuti 1 year and do form 1, another year form 2, because
if you grasp it,
your mind is the most powerful
Come
computer
on.
on planet Earth.
Yes.
But we govern out no dzidza ichi within a year, but I can learn this within a month. But that self-development, especially for those who have now grown and are a bit mature, you can be able to teach yourself on YouTube or on all these platforms how to do A, B, C. Wega, self-taught. How to, service your car. The internet has brought so much solution to us. But he who consumes the things that help with specifically the industry you like, you can become a pro at something that you did not know 3 months ago, just because you have consumed deliberate things. So kune who are consuming things, you will never become a big-time entrepreneur watching Netflix and chilling for 8 hours in a day. Which thought, I have watched all of them. The next one is coming out next week. I can't wait. But understand, what benefit is that bringing in your life? It's not doing anything. And because of our time management, I've always said to people, if you show me what you spend your time doing, I can tell where you're going to be in 5 years from now. I definitely can tell by the amount of useless time you have to spend on unnecessary things. Not to know futuristically, your life is going to end up like this. So what we spend the most of our time doing, self-developing our inner self. I've made it a deliberate effort when I wake up, Becky K, it's no secret. With the school run diaries that are there every single morning, we are feeding ourselves with positive content. And don't be surprised with all my kids being the people that they are, because at a young age, we deliberately began to tell them, you can do all things through Christ. You're a winner. You're above and not beneath.
So let's
You're
get
the
into
head.
it. Is this how we speak then to our inner self? Is this how we fix ourselves, or like put our inner self in tune with what we want to do? Are we quoting scriptures? Are we quoting motivational quotes? What are we saying? Are we writing down things that we think about? How are we actioning it out? There's a video that I heard over the week. I say heard because I didn't watch it. It was a video that I played, but I was listening to it, and it said that the amount of energy that we use in saying negative things is more than the energy that we use in saying positive things. That's why when you speak negative over your life, it happens quicker. It multiplies faster than when you speak positive over your life. And that's why negative things happen quicker than positive things.
True that. And I think we spoke about that on the SFP, the self-fulfilling prophecy,
Right.
and the power of words spoken.
Yeah.
That whatever you talk about comes about.
Yes.
So if you constantly keep on saying, and the Bible says it, let the weak say, I am strong. So when you keep saying it and you have an internal belief system, trust you me, he who wins is one who has consistently over and over and over again told himself, I'm going to be a champion. I'm going to be a winner. I love Themba Ngorimbo, who just won this UFC thing. And he will tell you, I told you I'm going to win. Before he even, Muhammad Ali, same thing. Michael Jordan, same thing. Cristiano Ronaldo. And if they don't win now, don't worry. They'll keep telling you until it manifests. And like you've said, Vajinji Wedu, and I'll say it briefly, the self-fulfilling prophecy, the Pygmalion effect we spoke of last time, is a powerful thing. Chenjerai mashoko amuri kutuma kunze uku nemuromo wenyu, especially pertaining your own life. Secondly, your loved ones, your husband, your children, your business. Return a voice. When you begin to understand whatever you are doing, speak forth what you want. Isaiah 55:11. Those things, everything has ears. And what happens is angels and demons walk on top of words. I'll say this again. Madimoni nengirozi anofamba pamusoro emashoko awataura iwewe pachako. Saka wakataura mashoko akaipa, pane zvinhu zviri kutofamba kunogadzirisa zvinhu zvawazvituma kuti zviende. And the same thing, I'm the head and not the tail.
Yes.
I'm a winner. I'm a champion. I can do all things. Pane zvinhu zvinotanga kuitika in the realm. So you'll find people who are successful. They'll tell you, vanokuudza kuti, he always used to say this. P. Diddy will tell you 10 years from now, I'll still be on top. I thought, Israel, it's an affirmation. Kutaura. But iwewe, you can't even talk about yourself. You can't even write anything about yourself. You don't even have 20 I ams that you can affirm yourself. I am blessed. I am favored. I am a winner.
You know
I am
what?
a champion.
The last time we said let's do this exercise and they never did. Because
Imagine that.
Okay, we're not asking for 20 IMs. We are asking for 5. All right. So type out in the comment section 5 IMs. Right. I am this. I am this. I am this. I am this. Just don't write I am this and it like really write it out. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I am above and not beneath. I am a money magnet. You know, things like that. Write them out also on the WhatsApp 0719 100 404. If we get a chance, we'll read them out while George is still in here. If not, at least we have them on our comment section and on our WhatsApp platform. What else is it that we should be doing with our inner self?
You know,
I am zero.
yeah. You know, it's important that people get serious with their lives, especially with inner self-development.
Okay.
Yeah, and people take this lightly. And imagine we're in the 2nd month of the year, and still hausati ka big hairy audacious dream kakungonyorawo zvinhu zvauda kuita this year. It's okay. And unoza kakupenga vanhu vane mari and those who are successful and have made it, vane kakupenga, they live in their own realm, you know. And Steve Jobs will tell you yes to the crazy ones, right? To those who are willing to do what everybody else is not doing, right? And those are the people in life who actually make it. And wakaona munhu wekuti hauna kana time, you know. We spoke about the 18-minute rule. We spoke about just spending time in your day. Pa lunch nasika chimboisa phone yako pa silent, unogara mota, meditate, umbozviono self, wamboti no, I want to travel to Dubai, I want to do this, I want to live this type of lifestyle, I want chimbozviendesa, umbomira all these, no, political issues are hindering my progress, I know this, that. Excusitis has hindered your self-development so much that you are going to die poor, a person who passes of opportunities regularly, because pachako, imagine panomuka dhiri haugoni kana kutodanwa kuti please bring forth your quotation, because you don't even believe in yourself. You haven't even said, let me go and register and start and begin. Kusiri kufande kupi, let me just do something I haven't done. And to people listening, be like that 2%. And when we have the 2%, these people have managed to declutter and understand that, wait a minute.
2%, but it's growing?
No, the 2%. 98% of the world lives in the comfort zone.
Oh, yeah.
The 2%.
I thought it was the 1%.
No, it's the 2%.
There's a chance for some of us.
The 2%.
Yeah.
The 2% are those who are not, I don't care where I grew up. I don't care I lost my parents. I